Hello, welcome again to Wheels and welcome to the Elsworth Motor Park near Cambridge. This week it's Motocross, featuring those magnificent men on their flying machines. It's a round of the British 500cc Championship, and that means not only some of the top riders in this country, but indeed many of the top names in the world. Kurt Nicoll from Newport in Essex, riding a KTM, is the British champion. He has been for the past 3 years, and he's currently leading the World Championship. Dave Thorpe from Surrey, Kawasaki's #1 rider, world champion 3 times, British champion 5 times, and as ever, Nicoll's biggest rival. Jeremy Whatley from Hampshire, also on a Kawasaki. He's the current leader of this British Championship, only just ahead of Nicoll though. Rob Herring of Flor in Northamptonshire rides a Honda, still looking for his best form, but this could be a circuit which will suit him well. Unlike most of the top riders, he's on a 250cc machine today. And the real flyer of the moment, Paul Malin from Derbyshire. A week ago, at 19 years and 3 months old, he became the youngest rider ever to win a World Championship Grand Prix, younger even than Dave Thorpe, his Kawasaki teammate. But Nicoll is the man to beat here.
Well, obviously, I suppose I'm going to start as the favourite as World Championship leader at the moment, but this year, the English riders, other than myself, have all proved very competitive at world-class level as well. And possibly they ride even better in England than I do sometimes, so I think it'll be tough. I might be down as a favourite, but it's by no means a one-horse race.
Well, the season's been pretty well up and down for us. You know, we've had some mechanical failures which haven't helped our situation, and the big one in Switzerland when I crashed, it broke my shoulder come out. So everything's been uphill, and unfortunately our mechanical troubles haven't got better yet, so we've been not finishing races when possibly we could have got a lot of points.
Well, my prospects are as good as Dave Thorpe or Kurt Nicoll's. I'll attack today is on a one-race basis. I'll go at it as fast as I can in every race and hope for the best. It's a good track for me. I get on really well, so I'll be looking at first three on the end of the day.
Well, obviously the World Championship is my main priority. There's a lot more at stake there. My aim for that at the beginning of the year was to be in the top 5, but I realistically think now that I can win that championship.
So there we are, just a few of the names to watch out for today. This is actually round 3 of the British Championship. So first of all, a quick look at how they stand after the first 2 rounds. Jeremy Whatley is the current leader on 106 points. He's ahead of Kurt Nicoll and then Dave Thorpe, but it all could change today. There's a maximum 60 points up for grabs. That's because each round of the championship comprises 3 races, 20 points for the winner of each race. OK, enough talking, time for the business to start. Your commentator's Vic Allen, a former British champion at Motocross himself. He won it back in 1975. He's joined in the commentary box by Chris Carter.
Kurt Nicoll then engages gear, all eyes on the start line. This is the local boy who started his career at Elsworth when he was just a schoolboy, but he trails in the championship chase by 13 points, and here at Elsworth, on his home stomping ground, he can close on Jeremy Whatley. Fall there at the start, chaos and confusion. Too many riders, 18 people trying to get through and just not in a place. Matthew Bates was the man who went down, and this circuit manufactured with the skill, cunning and deviousness of Andy Lee, a motocross star in his own right. And sitting with me, watching the action, Vic Allen, who was the very first British motocross champion when this new format was devised.
Yeah, it's nice to see Kurt Nicoll up there. He's obviously on a high at the moment from the World Championships, and he's certainly going to take some stopping today.
So Nicoll setting the pace, needing to close the gap, 13-point gap between him and Jeremy Whatley in this championship. And Whatley then, David Thorpe in fact in 2nd place behind Kurt Nicoll. Nicoll on the KTM, then David Thorpe behind him, Rob Herring, the young man who spent most of his youth in South Africa, came back to England because he wanted to pursue a motocross career. And closing now on David Thorpe, Nicoll still in 3rd place. So Nicoll then, look at Rob Herring and David Thorpe, and Herring side by side with the man who has been world champion 3 times in the 500cc series. They were saying, Vic, Really, Dave Thorpe, a remarkably consistently good rider, but getting a bit old in the tooth for a motocross man.
Yeah, I think that's maybe correct, but he's still up there, and he's obviously had a difficult season with bike problems this year. But I think one of the things to look for here is the difference how the suspension's set up in the bike, because it's very, very soft in the 250 of Herring, stadium-type suspension, so it'd be interesting to see how he lasts out the race.
Well, stupendous piece of overtaking there from the young man, Rob Herring, who just almost flew over the top of Dave Thorpe's head to grab the lead. So, Herring now chasing on the 250, chasing the race leader, Kurt Nicoll. What's the difference in weight between 500 and 250s now, Vic?
Surprisingly enough, it's not all that much, Chris. It's probably about 15 pounds in weight, but I think it's certainly the snap of the 250 motors is so much greater out in the corners that they're very well suited for this track. It's very much a stadium-type track, and I think Herring's going to take some stopping today.
Well, Kurt Nicoll hopes to hold him off, and Kurt Nicoll still leading. They're out on the second lap. And in fact, Dave Thorpe hasn't given up hopes of doing better, still snapping at the heels of the younger whippersnapper, Rob Herring, who holds second place on point number 3. Well, Herring, a big old boy, of course. He's being Mickey taken out of him in the kindest possible way by a lot of people at the moment, who saying he's just a bit on the heavy side. And refuting that all the time, of course. We're watching some of the downfield battles, the end of the second lap. No real changes at the top, but Paul Malin now on the charge. Oh, a faller there, and that's not a very good place to park your motorcycle. There he is, number 4. Malin making up for a fairly sluggish start. Malin, born in Leicester, but now living in sunny Derbyshire at Denbigh. And there is Paul Malin, number 4. He is in 5th place at the moment. Just ahead of his number 10, Jeremy Whatley, who is the championship leader. There is the gap between the race leader and the second place man, Rob. Oh dear! He's a spectacular old boy, isn't he, Vic?
You're too accustomed to watching this road racing, Chris. That's the trouble. Yeah, he certainly is. He's brilliant at this type of track. No question. He's a star and super rider to watch.
Well, he's 14 stone, as I was saying. His crew and one or two other people just taking the mickey out of him a little bit. Is it a handicap to be as heavy as that, or does that make you stronger and you can cope with it all?
Well, I think on a 250 it's obviously a little bit difficult, but he seems to be coping well with it. I can't see it holding him back very much just now.
So, Kurt Nicoll, number 1, leading from number 3, Rob Herring. And Nicoll has been the leader from start to finish. Then in the background, number 5, that's Dave Thorpe. No change in the top 5. In 6th place at the moment, one of the men who qualified a little earlier in the day in the 2 qualifying races, number 29, Greg Hans. He's in 6th spot, and behind him, number 2, Mervyn Anstie. We're watching the battle for the lead. Kurt Nicoll, his father, David Nicoll, was a top-class motocrosser. Time when this elderly gentleman, Vic Allen, sitting alongside me, was also playing the game.
Yes, it's like things have certainly changed a bit since then, right enough. And this type of going that we've got now is like something alien to our type of riding. There's no question about that. But the thing about it is that you've got to be able to ride all types of going, and that's what these riders can certainly do.
Well, there's a view of this superb circuit. It's very much a pocket handkerchief job. Bulldozers used to make the mounds and to sort out the difficulties of the terrain to get the very best from man and machine. The man who is getting the best from himself and his motorcycle is Kurt Nicoll on the KTM. Family comes from Newport in Essex, but Kurt, like a lot of the top-class young British riders now, a resident in Europe. He lives down in France, down towards the south of France. And Nicoll coming under pressure more and more now from Rob Herring. Well, if you were Rob, Vic, would you be putting the pressure on and looking for a way through, or would you be waiting for the closing stages?
Yeah, I think Rob Herring would like to strike as soon as possible, I think, just to to try and control the race a little bit. I think it's certainly Nicoll is impressive because this is not his strong type of going. And I think if he can win this race, he's getting very near the complete master of motocross at the moment.
Quick shot there of number 39, Paul Chambers, who'd taken the tumble. It really does catch a lot of people out. Dave Thorpe was saying earlier that it's a circuit where you don't want to make a mistake. Kurt Nicoll, number 1, leads. Number 3, Rob Herring on the 250. In second place, then it's number 5, David Thorpe. There's number 10, Jeremy Whatley, the championship leader, a 13-point buffer after the opening 6 racers in this series, the opening 2 rounds. And a nasty wrist injury, broke his wrist in the first 500 Motocross Grand Prix of the year. And, well, I'm not telling you as a suck-ex, Vic Allen, but joint injuries at this sport are the worst of all, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it really is a problem, but I think the thing with Whatley is you watch his riding style, his feet up. I think that's what the viewer wants to watch. It's like the style of the riders, that's what they look for. Feet up is like a sign of a very, very good rider. If you watch just how much riding he does with his feet up, it's absolutely brilliant technically on a board.
Dave Thorpe, just looking into a remarkable career. Since 1982, he has never been out of the top 6 of the 500 Motocross World Championship, despite a year in which he broke his shoulder, a year in which he broke his collarbone, and it runs 6th, 5th, 3rd, 1st, 1st, 5th, 3rd, 1st, 5th. Well, a remarkable testimony to the skill and ability of this man, but at the moment he's still 3rd. Oh, and look at this, Herring almost riding pillion passenger. Well, you remember that he overtook Dave Thorpe with an attacking movement that almost flew him over the top of Dave Thorpe's head, and I suspect that the way he's going, Herring could easily fly over the top of Kurt Nicoll. And this is a tail ender, I suspect, just going through. Yes, it is one of the guys who qualified through the earlier qualifying events, Stuart Taylor on the 250 Suzuki. And there we go, beginning now to pull away quite convincingly from Dave Thorpe. Dave Thorpe, who for a while looked as though he was going to stay in contention. All those thoughts have evaporated. And, well, interesting perhaps as we watch the styles of Thorpe and Herring, just to show they move their bodies around on motocross much more than a road racer would do.
Yeah, if you look at especially this type track, you know, the stadium type track, they're normally doing 2 at a time. They double it. They do 2 and 2, and it's slow into one and then driving off the next one, so they're 3 of 2 like there. You know, it's like. This is impressive for Kurt Nicoll because it's not his type going. He's not like a stadium expert. He doesn't ride stadium races, but this type track's very much like it. And this particular part he's coming up to, he's very, very good on. It's one part of the track I thought he might be lacking a little bit, and I think here he's as good, if not better, than anybody else.
There is the race leader, number 1, Kurt Nicoll.
Very, very fast into that.
Heading for 20 points. He'll pull 7 points back of the 13-point lead that Jeremy Whatley held going into this first race. And on this sort of form, I suspect that Kurt Nicoll could be heading off for his home in France, leading the British Championship. But a long way to go yet.
Yeah, and hopefully leading towards the World Championship as well, Chris. That would be really a nice end to the season for him. It's heading definitely in the right direction.
Now, if Rob Herring has anything in reserve, we shall see, and they are closing on a group of slower riders. And as ever in motorsports, whether it's on 2, 3 or 4 wheels, slower man, there's the mobile chicanes ahead. Now this is where Kurt Nicoll could carve his way through and put it all beyond doubt, or where Rob Herring seizes the chance, and Kurt Nicoll, and that one tail ender, I think, knows the leader's coming through. Whoops, yes he did, he looked before and saw Kurt, so he very gentlemanly moves over. And, well, Kurt was not very quick over the little whoopsie-whoops then, Vic.
Oh no, this will decide it, no question. This is, I think, look, he's right with him. No question about that. This is going to decide it. He's definitely not attacking it. So Rob Herring's right with him. Over to you, Chris. This is the tail enders are going to decide this race.
And it's happened so many times in motorsport. So look at this Herring trying the lock route. It was almost level then with Kurt Nicoll, and Kurt Nicoll, I think, has suddenly realised the threat. I think he thought he got it in the bag, and now suddenly, as Vic would say, he's starting to attack the circuit. He's got to carve his way past these guys. Oh, and Rob Herring seizes the chance, and he's through. Rob Herring saw that Kurt Nicoll was just being too polite, and you cannot afford to be too polite in for Herring. And these men are dicing. The man there thinks that Rob Herring is a tail ender trying to rob him of a place. He didn't know he was the race leader. Now, will he let Kurt Nicoll go? Riders high in the air, and again Rob Herring, and this is dangerous stuff because the tail enders could easily tangle with these guys. They could be forced to go a bit quicker. Oh, this is great stuff by Rob Herring, really dramatic stuff, and Herring has done the bit when it matters. The checkered flag has gone out and Herring did it. Rob Herring did it. And here a chance to see the overtaking again, Vic.
Yes, Kurt, it was said before, I think he thought he was further away than he was, and like here he hasn't attacked the double and Rob's jumped it, so I mean obviously he's no drive now and Rob's on a roll, so once he lands he can take off. Kurt was driving from there but was too late.
I was pretty fortunate because Kurt got behind some slow riders at the top and I caught up to him, and then they totally blocked him and I had a clear run. I was behind him and I could see where he was going to go, and I just went as fast as normal and Kurt had to slow down, so I went past him. If the slow riders weren't there, he would have won, but it's the way it goes and I beat him.
Well, I mean, you saw I had a clear lead. I'd done the work and I had a clear lead going into the last lap. And then there was a bunch of back markers just in front of me, and no, it doesn't seem like any of the marshals have got blue flags, so none of them knew I was there, and they just held their lines. And okay, on the track I can go with them, but when you go over the whoops, there's no way that I could afford to take a risk of jumping the whoops while they were in front of me, and so I had to roll the whoops, first that set, which meant that Robbie caught me up, and then the second set over the back, and Robbie passed me. But if those guys had known I was there, they could have moved over, and then I'd have had that race.
So, a controversial start to proceedings here at Elsworth. We'll be back with more action after the break. Welcome back. Well, before we take a look at the next championship race, let's just take a bit of a breather and indeed a closer look at the sport of motocross.
The ups and downs of motocross. One of the ups is the sheer professionalism of the riders, and from a technical point of view, not easy for us to get a rider's eye view of the circuit. Anthony Skerry of King's Lynn here helping us with a helmet camera experiment. This involves a microwave link, and at the moment, more gear for the rider to wear than will be acceptable or safe in a serious competition. Meanwhile, within the sport itself, changes are afoot. And for someone like British champion Kurt Nicoll, not necessarily to his liking.
Now, the situation as it stands is that the governing body, the FIM, have decided, in my opinion, foolhardily to make the 500 World Championship an open class next year for all comers, and then the year after to phase it down to 250s. It's a decision which I really can't see the logic in it at all. The 500 class has always been the prestige class in World Championship events. Attracting crowds averaging around sort of 25,000-30,000 as compared with the 250 class that would be lucky to grab half of those spectators. The FIM have been put under a lot of pressure from the Japanese motorcycle manufacturers who are not selling as many 500 bikes to the public as they did, and they're selling 250s and basically the FIM have bowed to their pressure, which I think is a very bad decision.
Okay, back now to the main event, race number 2 in the British Championship. First of all, let's just see how they finished in the first race. First, the winner, Rob Herring there, collects a maximum 20 points. Second, Kurt Nicoll. Third, Dave Thorpe. Down to number 4, Jeremy Whatley, the current championship leader. His lead at the top now, though, is down now to just 9 points ahead of Kurt Nicoll. Dave Thorpe still in third, and Rob Herring's win moves him up now to fourth place. So, time for the second race.
And all eyes looking at the starter. Remember, that front wheel must not touch the metal gate. If it does, it won't fall. Individual starting gate. Down they go, away go the field. 40 riders on the charge, and this is a place for brave men. And, well, a mass of men and machines, and everybody miraculously safely through, and the bravest of them all out in front, side by side. And the charge is on Kurt Nicoll in second place. Stuart Coyle, number 6, well up there. And the race leader, 29. So Greg Hansen, number 29, leads. Number 1, Kurt Nicoll, is in second place. I think it was Stuart Coyle, number 6, in third spot. Dave Thorpe down in fourth place at the moment. We'll clarify that for you in just a moment. Hansen, though, like a rocket ship, 9 points only so far. Jeremy Whatley, the championship lead on the 190. A chance for Hansen to get a bucket full of points here this afternoon in race 2. And he is riding, as Vic Allen says, with a lot of confidence, a lot of verve. But Kurt Nicoll getting closer. Dave Thorpe there, and well, a fierce battle behind Paul Malin and Dave Thorpe, teammates, but no team riding. And Paul Malin was disappointed with his first race. He wants to do something better here, and he has got the chance to do it. So, a little bit further down, Warren Edwards.
Oh, that was ridiculous there with Paul Malin trying to pass David Dobb. He caught his back end. Absolutely no chance of getting past.
And Rob Herring down in 7th place at the moment, the man who won the first race. And we don't see Jeremy Whatley on our lap chart. Now, whether Whatley has hit problems and he cannot afford to lose out, and Nicoll looking for the inside line, dives on the inside, levels with Hansen side by side, and Kurt Nicoll, well, if he showed this aggression in the first race, Vic, he may not have been beaten.
Yeah, I think he's certainly still wound up from the first one, because he's been super aggressive here, and it's the right time to do it. If he can break them and then be able to control the race, there's little doubt he'd speed the first one. He'd broken Herring, and now's the time to do it.
Greg Hansen hanging on, won't be shaken off, and again messes Paul Malin and Dave Thorpe. Oh, and again Paul Malin going for a gap that wasn't really there.
Yeah, they're definitely good. It's definitely the needle match, like we always said, like the biggest competitions between teammates, and this is where they crashed into one another before. When Malin is doing exactly the same again, but he's been super aggressive, no question.
Well, Malin, who became the youngest ever rider to win a 500 Motocross Grand Prix just a week ago in France. And in fact, we have found Jeremy Whatley 13th at the moment, so not a lot of points for Jeremy Whatley, the championship leader. We're watching the battle for 3rd and 4th place. And Malin, well, they thought the old dog, he was waiting for the young pup to do that, I think, then, Vic.
Well, this is definitely something different for us. It's like
this is the overtaking manoeuvre before, Vic. You can talk us through this. Alan diving in the inside.
He's obviously come in tight, you know, and there's no way he can turn. David's staying cool. If you watch him further back, he was very, very cool, David. He's been through this many times in his life before.
And Rob Herring, the race 1 leader, moving up the field as well. He's in 5th spot. We're watching Paul Malin, he's a remarkable man on and off the motorcycle, a really colourful character. He has, he's level with Thorpe, side by side, and is he going to have him? Yes! Paul Malin, not to be denied.
Yeah. It's a very good pass, that one. It was nothing wrong with that. That was excellent riding, and he's going to take some stopping. He's definitely on a charge this time. He's been fired up after his performance the first race. So,
and it's Rob Herring there who is going past Greg Hansen. So Rob Herring now moving up onto the rear tyre tracks of David Thorpe. Thorpe is in 3rd place, number 3 Rob Herring in 4th place. Now this is a nerve-tickling prospect, a real mouth-watering idea of Kurt Nicoll, Paul Malin and Rob Herring battling for the lead. Vic, Kurt Nicoll then, the man who started his racing career at Elsworth. There's Dave Thorpe being pushed by Rob Herring. So it's Nicoll versus Malin, then it's Thorpe versus Herring. That's the front 4. Then Greg Hansen still hanging on a good ride from Greg Hansen. Had to qualify to ride in this race in 2 events earlier in the morning. And Dave Thorpe and Herring didn't like that, and he dived back for the inside, and he'll give Dave Thorpe the treatment there. And beautiful riding there by Herring. 14 stone, Big Rob says, get out of the way, Thorpe.
Yeah, and at 250 as well, you know, it's quite surprising really in the steam to do that, but I think this type of track, it's like lays itself for that. They serrated the corners very well, and they can chuck him about a little bit easier in the 500.
I think he was also wound up a little bit by Mr. Thorpe trying to put him up the chestnut fencing. Jeremy Whatley in 10th place, says the lap scorer. And Malin and Nicoll almost side by side, and behind them Rob Herring is trying very hard to reduce the gap between himself and the front 2 men. Nicoll holding up. There's Herring, number 3.
I think it's interesting to see whenever Kurt draws away a little bit that he's able to close it straight back up. So he's obviously got a bit in hand, no question.
And again, it's showing the front wheel, just forcing Nicoll, or trying to force Nicoll into making a mistake. Again, a different choice of line. One on one side of the track, Malin on the other.
Yeah, I think it's this next bit again, as we come down to this whoops, I still believe that this is where the stadium experts have got an advantage. It's up over the next part here. It'll be interesting to see how they attack it this time, but Kurt's been very good here all day, so... Yeah, you see that he's Malin very fast over the second part of that, and it's took him right close to Kurt. He's really beginning to put him under pressure, and as you say, he's very aggressive. But do you think Kurt Nicoll hasn't been riding so long? You know, he only started when he was 14, so he's fresh at it. Although he's a little bit older, he's very, very fresh to the sport. So he's still got a lot to go for. He's still hungry for that World Championship. And a lot of experience and hungry for it. He still should do it.
And Paul Malin trying everything he knows. Well, maybe he is, maybe he's not. I sometimes have the feeling, Vic, that maybe he's not showing everything, not showing all the cards he's got in his hand.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Chris, because you can see a little gap and then he can close it straight up. He doesn't go fast, but he can close it right up, and then he's super aggressive again. He's blocked him completely, you know. Kurt didn't like that.
No, and he's put Kurt off his rhythm, as you say, and Malin suddenly stretches a gap of 20 yards. Now, can Kurt Nicoll come back again? A chance to see it again in slow motion, Vic.
Yes, and you can see he's just dived for the inside, you know, but you must say the door was left open, so really I don't think you can complain too much. The door was left open and the gap was there.
And the front 3, Paul Malin, number 1 Kurt Nicoll, and number 3 Rob Herring pulling away now. And Kurt Nicoll right on the rear tyre tracks of Malin. Well, he's got a bit of a charge on, and maybe the charge has been inspired by the arrival of number 3 Rob Herring. Well, we're going to see what Kurt Nicoll is made of, Vic. Yeah, glimpse of Rob Herring. He's going to join them very soon, and the man who led early on, Greg Hansen, I can tell he's down now in 8th place, so certainly not disgraced, but not able to keep up the pace that he showed in the early stages. Malin, number 4. Number 1, Nicoll, and Kurt Nicoll still, I suspect, with that little red haze. Oh, he's off! And Kurt Nicoll and Herring will go past. Certainly, there was Rob Herring. We saw him go past. Now, can Nicoll get it started? And this is not the best day of Kurt Nicoll's life. Of that, there is no doubt. He was trying on the charge, trying to close on the race leader, and he just... well, he just blew it.
Yeah,
2 laps to go now, and the 2-lap board is out.
Just lost the front end a little bit, Chris. Just like you said, he's pressing hard, just a little bit too much. Just lost the front end, and obviously once it's gone.
A chance to see it again.
Yeah. front end just rolled away, just trying to turn too quick, trying to turn inside Malin, lost the front end.
There is the race leader, leaping his way, tail enders in his way. That could slow him down a little bit. The checkered flag being prepared. Paul Malin then on the way to win the second race of the British Motocross Championship. Herring still in pursuit. The checkered flag is ready. And I think you're right, Herring's not going to get there, but it's been a brave effort. There he is. And Malin maintaining the gap on this final circuit. The charge to the line. Paul Malin wins. And there's Rob Herring in second place. So there's the first two men safely home. And we're waiting still for Kurt Nicoll to wrap up third place. And here is Nicoll. So Kurt Nicoll takes third spot.
Yeah, I'm pleased. Kurt, obviously, as I say, you know, he's like a difficult rider to pass, especially around here because it's like so fast and all the corners are the same line. And in France last weekend at the GP, he was tailing me just as close to what I was tailing him, but he wasn't prepared to take a risk. But that's the difference between the two of us. You know, I'm more of a risky rider. He's just happy to like ride round, score points if anybody crashes. Well, if you do that, you know, you're not going to be making the points that you know you're looking for. And you know, I just took a risk and got 3 extra points.
Another small problem in that one, but that one was all my own making. Paul was riding pretty quick. He passed me about halfway through the race, but I tagged on fairly easily. I think it's easier on this track today to follow than it is to stay in front. And obviously we were coming up with a couple of laps to go. I was sort of thinking where I could have a go on the last 2 laps, but I lost the front end just down the back of the circuit on the wall of death, and down I went.
Confirmation then of the results of race 2. First Paul Malin, then Rob Herring, third Kurt Nicoll, followed by Dave Thorpe. And it's not all bad news for Kurt Nicoll. His third place means he's now joint level at the top of the championship table with Jeremy Whatley, who could only finish a disappointing 10th. So 2 races down, 1 to go. That's coming up in a moment. Hello, welcome back. In a moment we'll be seeing the third and final race in this British 500cc Motocross Championship. We've already seen 2 very exciting races, of course, on the circuit here at Elsworth, which has earned a lot of praise for its designer, Andy Lee. Andy, the riders tell me they very much like the track here at Elsworth. What have you done? What's special about it?
Well, basically it's a custom-built track, a permanent track, and it gives us the chance to really produce what the riders want. And we're likely to perhaps mix some of the top riders' ideas with our own to produce the sort of racing that is expected of it.
So you listen to what the riders say then and take their ideas on board?
Oh yeah, mind you, I've been around for a few years and I still follow the Grand Prix. Some inventions here are entirely my own, but we do take notice of the top riders because at this level you really want obstacles that are going to please the spectators and prove something of a challenge to the riders.
Now, you've got a big meeting here today, and as you say, you get a lot of crowds, you get a lot of top riders here. What about the future? Got any other things up your sleeve?
Well, yes, we are actually licensed to run an international event, and whether that will happen sometime in the near future is anybody's guess, but certainly we have that international license, yes.
Well, it's not only the British Championship which has attracted a lot of interest here at Elsworth today. There are also quite a few support races. They're not just here to make up the numbers. Some have been around for quite a while and not quite made the grade. Others, though, are up and coming, hoping one day to rub shoulders with the likes of Kurt Nicoll and Dave Thorpe. Let's pick up one of those races at the midway stage.
And here they come, about to put another lap in the book, and behind them Marshall and Leach are still going at it hammer and tongs, and if they should join the scrap for the lead, well, it could be pacemakers for us all, Vic.
Very good riding. I mean, like, because he come from outside to inside to pass John Ongley, and then John came back. Very good riding.
And tight through again. Now can Ongley come back and look at this little group behind Lance Marshall and Nicholas Leach closing on Ongley as well, and they were queuing up to get round that little hairpin bend.
This is going to be all about mistakes, for sure. It's like little mistakes and letting somebody through. It's very, very good.
Sykes leads then. Ongley in second place. Marshall trying to go past the early race leader, and that forces Ongley into getting stuck in, but he got the rhythm weight. You could see that, Vic.
I think that's what Nicoll was talking about in the first race. Once you get the rhythm wrong over these hoops, it's very, very difficult because you can't judge 2 or 1 and you get out of sync.
This is turning into the best race of the day. And, well, Sykes, who was the leader, pushed back to second, but he could go third because there goes Marshall, Lance Marshall, number 52. Well, Sykes will not have that. I am holding second place. In fact, I want to lead again, he says.
I think the track lends itself to this, Chris, where one corner you get advantage by coming in tight and get a better drive, but the next one leads better from the outside. So with it passing one bit, it's quite easy to get past in the next. Very good track for passing and repassing.
And Sykes, again, mounting another attack. Ongley holds him off. Sykes goes from one side off, then the other. There's Marshall trying to come back, and Marshall goes through to second. Oh, and in fact, Sykes will be booted back to third. Well, truly incredible. It's Ongley who leads, and Sykes goes from second to fourth. John Ongley, number 68, leads. Number 52, Lance Marshall. Then number 72, Nicholas Leach. And Leach goes from third. In fact, he goes from fourth to second. Oh, no. Lance Marshall will have none of it, and he passes the leader.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He actually got... John's gone to third place. John Ongley's back
and
to
there's
third.
4 more guys right behind them, ready to take over should they make a mistake. Well, another shuffle of the cards, and Ongley goes back into second spot. Lance Marshall, the leader, and he's seizing advantage of a clear track to pull away. Remember, this is the support class. These are the guys who were not able to fight their way through to qualify for the British Championship race, and Leach and Ongley side by side, and Leach leaps his way through. Literally, oh, he doesn't. Oh, get out of the way. And John Ongley tried so hard to force his way back into second place, made a big mistake, and well, he was on the ground for about 2 seconds, and about 8 riders passed him, I think.
Well, I think that was justice seen to be done, because there was absolutely nowhere here that they could... He'd no chance. The door was closed, and you can see he was too late. He closed in, nowhere to go. And that's justice seen to be done, no question.
Well,
although the bike's obviously ticking over. When he picks it up, it's still running. That's why you're going to waste it quick. But as you said, so many riders passed. It's so tight.
Right then, on to the third and final race in this round of the British 500cc Motocross Championship, and here's the state of play. Level at the top on 125 points apiece, Jeremy Whatley and Kurt Nicoll, the current championship holder. In third place, Dave Thorpe, and then in fourth place, it's Rob Herring. So all to play for as we go into the last race and join commentators Vic Allen and Chris Carter.
The start of the crucial third race of this, the third round of the British Motocross Championship. The reigning champion, Kurt Nicoll, now level pegging on points, 125 points, the same as this man, Jeremy Whatley, who was the championship leader as before they came to this event. Off they go, 40 riders, the charge onto the first corner, thousands of brake horsepower, churning the mud as they turn hard right, and everybody once again miraculously safely away round that tight hairpin bend, and the charge is on 25 minutes plus 1 lap. And Brian Wheeler, number 8, gets a flyer. Kurt Nicoll, number 1, is up there. Well, so too is number 14, Mark Banks, one of the local boys. And, well, Kurt Nicoll is up there behind Brian Wheeler, but the opposition is struggling back behind.
3 KTMs, the first 3 praise, Chris. Very good for the European makes.
Absolutely. Oh, and Wheeler loses the lead. Kurt Nicoll storms through to take the advantage. And right down at the back of the field on this opening lap is Rob Herring. So Rob Herring, who's moved up into 4th place in the championship chase, thanks to a win and a 2nd place, has got the entire field to pass before he can get up with the leader. There he is. He's doing remarkably well, carving his way through the field. Ahead of him, number 2, Mervyn Anstie. Behind him, number 4, Paul Malin. And we didn't see Whatley in that crowd. And he is right at the tail end of the field, and he is feeling the pain and suffering from that recently broken wrist. And really, you don't have to be an Einstein to understand that broken wrists begin to suffer on circuits like this, Mick.
Yeah, this is a problem, Chris. Like, if you watch the riders over the jumps, everything's on the front wheel. Must be landing on the front wheel, moving their weight a bit to the right, so it lands in the front wheel and they can steer it. So, 'cause there's so many corners just after the jumps. You see Kurt there jumping, landing on the front wheel so he can steer. First thing he can do is steer around the corners. You know, it's like, he looks ragged. He looks very ragged, this Jeremy. I don't know if he's been off, but he's touring, I think.
Yes, and I think very soon he may decide that he's had enough. There's the leader, Kurt Nicoll, flying high.
Very, very good photograph of Nicoll there, moving his weight on the bike, Chris, to get that front end down. He's riding very well.
So Herring and Malin beginning to close now. There's number 3, Rob Herring. And Rob proving that the 250, absolutely no handicap. Oh, and he leaps past number 18, Matthew Bates, and the Yamaha man Bates being passed there by the 250 Honda.
Yeah, he tripled that one, Chris. He got the 3 end, and it's very impressive. It's only a good stadium rider that can do that type of thing, and he's certainly keen, as you could see. Loads of ground.
Nicoll then out in front. Still number 8, Brian Wheeler in 2nd place. Then it's number 3, Rob Herring, up into 3rd. And Nicoll riding harder than I think we've seen him ride all day.
Just going to say, Chris, I think when we saw him coming off in the 2nd race, on that corner, funnily enough, the front end just broke away, and he's got new rubber on the front, so it's obviously given the confidence to press us on, and he's going to take some stopping here because he's definitely riding well, and he's got a good lead now, so I think he'll take some catching.
Brian Wheeler riding superbly to hold off the attentions of Messrs Herring and Palin, who are breathing down his neck. Good ride from Wheeler, Brian Wheeler, from Wootton under Edge. Used to be a forklift driver before he went full-time motocrossing. Finished 8th in the British Championship last year. Ooh, and well, incredible! Herring forced him wide to go through, and Paul Malin accepted the gap. Oh, but Herring just
superb, Chris. Absolutely superb.
Well, that was great riding by both Malin and Herring. Malin saw the gap that Herring had created, took advantage. Let's talk it through it again, Mick.
Yes, Brian Wheeler made a little mistake, so he's come up inside, got a little too quick, little to do Brian, ran himself wide. You say Malin grabbed the chance up the inside. Now he's come back because he's doubled 2. Malin's landed short. Now he's getting the drive on the clear 2, and it's like straight past. Brilliant ride, brilliant ride. Opportunism at its best.
Yes, and Herring still holding off Paul Malin. Herring now 2nd, Malin in 3rd place, and they are closing on Kurt Nicoll. And these 2 young men, Rob Herring on the Silkaline Honda, Paul Malin on the Kawasaki. And Alec Wright, the man who has guided the Kawasaki motocross empire for so long, still searching for a Kawasaki 500 motocross world title, and maybe this man, Paul Malin, could do it for him.
Jeremy, you've had to leave the race early. Is it the hand?
Yeah, I made a mistake on the killer whoops at the back, and I think I've just overstretched it. I've made a smaller mistake later on that it's just not strong enough to hold on for 3 races at the moment, so I really did need some points out of the last race, but I can't complain really with a 5th and a 10th, so for a 4th and a 10th, so I'm pretty pleased.
Back with that battle with Mervyn Anstie. Remember, they are fighting for 4th and 5th places, and well, Matt Anstie holding off Dave Thorpe. Thorpe in 3rd place in the championship chase. He won't catch Jeremy Whatley, but he will close the gap, and obviously every position higher up the field is extra points. And David Thorpe is an old enough and experienced enough pro to seize every chance he can.
Nice turn in the air there, Chris, to get up the other side of the track to try and come wide and cross back in. You watch this.
And
nearly came off.
Yeah, Thorpe lining it up. He'd worked it all out, hadn't he?
Oh, no question. He knew exactly what he was doing.
And well, there is Mark Banks, and well, he's down in 7th place at the moment, but he won't be too disappointed about that because he's got other things on his mind, because his wife gave birth to a baby girl just a couple of days ago. So well done, Daddy and Mummy. Kurt Nicoll then, with about half a lap to go, and well, he could almost do a Carter and stop for a cup of tea and a sandwich, I think, really, couldn't he?
Yes, I think you could just make this one, Chris. It's he's certainly looked the part. He's done everything right. He's gated well, and oh, he's not going to even do the whoops. He just rode through them, taking no chances now. We'll just see if he waves over the jump this time or not.
So Nicoll heading for the checkered flag. The race in the bag. The British Championship lead about to be his.
This is a jump. This is a jump for the wave, Chris. Oh yes.
a bit quick. Hand back on the handlebars fairly quickly. But who can begrudge Kurt Nicoll having his moment of glory? He's ridden well. He's been one of the stars of this afternoon's racing action. And the checkered flag is ready. The final corner and a win, and the championship lead. A big wheelie from Kurt Nicoll, and Kurt Nicoll wins race 3, and he will move into the championship lead. We wait for the opposition to arrive. Here's Rob Herring, the young man from Northamptonshire, going through in 2nd place, and very soon now it'll be Paul Malin. There's Paul Malin, so Paul Malin 3rd.
Well, Kurt, a wave, a smile and a wheelie, it all came right in the end.
Yeah, finally I had a good race. You know, small problems in the other race, some my fault, some not my fault, but the last race I think I just about showed them.
Didn't go too badly today, did it?
I went fine today. I had no problem today. I rode pretty conservatively in the last 2 races, and the ground's really hard here, so if you fall off, you've got a good chance of damaging yourself. So I've got a lot of races still to come this year, so I didn't want to kill myself today.
It was tight there in the middle of the race. You know, Rob and Paul were both running about 4 or 5 seconds behind me, and the gap was staying the same. And then I was going hard, but once I saw that Paul tired, and then Rob decided, I think, to settle for what he had, because I think he still won the meeting overall.
Now, Kurt Nicoll is leading the World Championship and indeed now the British Championship. You're about 33 points behind him. Can you catch him?
It's possible. 33 points is quite a long way at this stage. But, I mean, if Kurt has a DNF, if he doesn't finish one race, then no, it's possible to catch him, but I would take one race at a time, keep plodding along, picking up points, and see where I finish come end of the year.
Let's confirm then how they finished that 3rd race. 1st, Kurt Nicoll. 2nd, Rob Herring, and with a 1st and 2 seconds, that makes him the top rider of the day. 3rd, Paul Malin, then Mervyn Anstie and Dave Thorpe. So the overall points tally after round 3 of the British Championship. Kurt Nicoll now the clear leader on 145 points. Jem Whatley, 20 points adrift on 125. Rob Herring has moved up into 3rd place, and Paul Malin now in 5th place.
The next stop for Rob Herring was Australia, where he won a big race, and although he's had persistent problems since, he's 2nd in the British Championship. which is led once again by Whatley, who's recovered from his wrist injury. Dave Thorpe is now third and going better in the Grand Prix, where his teammate Paul Malin is currently third in the world rankings. As for Kurt Nicoll, the leader of both the World and the British Championships after this Elsworth meeting, a fall in his next major race, the Dutch Grand Prix, a broken thigh, his season was over. His target now to be ready for the start of next season.
Well, that's just about it. That's it for another week. We'll be back next week at a different venue with a different sport, but at the same time. See you then. Good night.